Okay, I guess we'll start this meeting off with a Pledge of Allegiance. Everything else has been done, right? Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on the list is the invocation. We have Pastor Mark Brady from the Park Valley Church. Welcome.
It is such an honor to be here today, and I just say, I love you guys. I am thankful for the sacrifice that you all make for our community. And without sacrifice, there's no benefit. But because of your sacrifice, you're sacrificing your families by being here. You're sacrificing your children, your, spouses, whatever it is. But because of your sacrifice, we benefit in our community, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful to be one of the pastors here in our community, and Park Valley Church wants to be that third place for people's lives, that we can make a difference in marriages, make a difference in relationships with kids, meet people where they need with resources when they're hurting, when they lose a loved one, or maybe they're going through a divorce, or whatever it is, or if people need meals. We've always wanted our church to be that church. And I feel like we have a great partnership with you folks, and I am thankful and honored to live in this great community, and you guys make it great, so thank you. I just wanted to say real quick, Mabel had just passed away, and little Braxton passed away. And I was in L.A. driving with my cousin to the L.A. Dodger Stadium for the All-Star game when I got the call about Braxton. And one of my best friends was by his bedside when he passed. And so that little 13-year-old boy taught me a lot. And we're going to be hosting his celebration of life at our church on the 20th of August. It's going to be an honor and privilege for me to have a part in that. So if you could be there to support that family, we'd love to have you there. We want you to make Park Valley Church your home, and you're always welcome. And I just want to say I love you guys. And for Mabel, who's just passed away also, and I just want to say God is good. And I'm thankful for you today. So let's pray. God, we come to you today. We ask for your wisdom. Lord, I thank you for this incredible group of people that are sacrificing their time, because their sacrifice, we get to benefit from that. Their sacrifice makes this community the most incredible community to live in. I am so thankful to be a part of Haymarket and the Gainesville area, and just a part of the Northern Virginia triangle here. And Lord, I thank you for just your favor that you've given Park Valley Church. All we've tried to do is just love people and meet their needs. And this town board is so incredibly gifted in helping people. Lord, just give them wisdoms. I pray for their marriages. I pray for their families. I pray for their children, Lord. And the time that they dedicate in serving this community, Lord, I pray that you give that time back. I thank you for our chief of police, Lord. I pray for the protection for his roster of men and women that are serving this community, Lord. And we just thank you that you've shown this town favor. And this is the best town in the world, and it's such an honor. So bless this meeting today, and we thank you for your love. We thank you that relationships are more important than accomplishments, because accomplishments end up being forgotten, but relationships last. So, Lord, we love you, and we thank you in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Do we need to hold this if we're doing this?
Before we go on, I don't think we'll need town council for any of the agenda items in the meeting. If there are any objections, I'll dismiss them.
Attorney?
The attorney?
Not the town council.
Just so we can leave, get paid. I'm ready to go.
SCL, not.
Legal counsel, right? Any objections? No?
There's no reason to
Okay.
do that, right?
You can head on out if you want, Martin.
Because everything we wanted to discuss with Roberto regards that.
We'll continue on. Next on the agenda is the community spotlight. So we have the sweet Julia Grace Foundation, Sarah Knight, at the podium.
That's all covered. That's all covered by my man anyway.
Yep. How am I connecting? Go, tech boy, go.
Cool, dude. Cool.
Oh, you have that? Oh, look at you.
Squad.
Look at
What are
you.
you pulling, Joe? You
Nothing.
pulling the town manager's report? Administrative?
Yeah,
Okay.
administrative.
What are we pulling that for?
There was something in here. Oh, I'll raise it.
Pull the podium closer.
It's going to be over, yeah. It's better quiet, so it's-
Okay.
That's a good point.
An awkward item.
Went to college for that.
All right. Ready to roll. Okay, so I'm talking into this, right? So I'm so grateful to be here. I recognize a few of you, but if you haven't heard about our foundation, I'm honored to share with you tonight what we do, who we help, and how you all can get more involved. Haymarket in general has been ultra involved in our nonprofit, so we're very grateful for this town and the people in it, in the surrounding towns, but maybe for some of you who haven't heard about us, this will give you a chance to learn a little bit more about us. So the Sweet Joy Grace Foundation, I started in honor of my daughter. This is Joya Grace. Joya Grace was very sweet, which is why we call it the Sweet Joya Grace Foundation. When she was born, we were told she had a few years to live, but she lived till she was 12. She had a really rare genetic disease. It affected her entire body. But one of the things that she taught us was that life is not about waiting for the storms to pass, it's learning to dance in the rain. And when I started this foundation, I wanted to take what she had taught us and help the families that are also going through things to help their children dance in the rain as well. So our mission is to grant wishes that bring joy and change lives, to fill in gaps that other resources are not filling in, and to help families with day-to-day needs that they might have. And quite honestly, the gifts that we bring the families and the children do bring comfort, but they really do change their lives. Sometimes it's life-changing, life-altering gifts. The children we serve have special needs, medically fragile, going through a medical crisis like cancer or heart surgery, or have serious illness that they'll be dealing with the rest of their life. So we call all the kids we help a rain dancer. The yellow umbrella is our logo, and of course it's in honor of Julia's life quote, which is, life isn't about waiting for the storms to pass, it's learning to dance in the rain. So all the kids we help are rain dancers. And they're the most resilient, bravest, courageous children you'd ever meet. And it's an honor to do what we do for them, especially in honor of my little girl. So we became a 501c3 in 2014, just months after Julia passed away. We help families in Nova. So I live in Bristow. We're based out of my house. We basically say if we can get to the family within an hour, they qualify. We also have a chapter in West Virginia, which is where I'm from. We are all volunteer, 100% all volunteer. We've helped over 200 families, and our gifts that we provide, the support we provide, is anywhere from $200 to $15,000. So it's a huge range based on the needs the child has, the needs the family has. Back to the support we've had, the volunteers from 2014 on. I mean, if I had to sit down and figure out the hours of volunteer work, because we ask our volunteers to do quite a bit, but the amount of hours that they've worked for free as a volunteer has been probably over 30,000. For example, like we just had the adult field day at the Farm Brewery at Broad Run, and we had 600 participants, probably 150 volunteers. Those 150 volunteers were there from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So all the events that we come up with, they thankfully say, okay, Sarah, where do you need me to be? So that's how we raise our money, is by volunteers helping us and trying to come up with really cool fundraisers. So we're super unique in many ways, but just to touch on a few, we have no red tape. These families are going through more than you can imagine with their child. The last thing we want to do is add on an application process, them trying to ask for 6 months to get something. We say yes. If they come to us and they have a child that qualifies, they're going to get our help. And we're also not diagnosis specific. So a lot of nonprofits just focus on a specific diagnosis. Our kids, they have cerebral palsy, pediatric cancer, heart surgeries, accidents that have caused serious problems, genetic issues that they'll have the rest of their life. We help newborns to 18 years old. And something that makes us super unique compared to other wish granters is that if they've received other wishes, they can still come to us. I mean, they're going through unfathomable times, so it's not gonna be like, oh, you had a room makeover. Sorry, you can't have an iPad, you know. We don't function like that. We think they need the world, and we do everything we can to raise money so that we're prepared to say yes when they do come to us. We're here for the long haul. When a family comes to us, often I find myself saying, not on purpose, but you're stuck with us now. Like, we're not going anywhere. That means that from this moment until you don't need us anymore and you can start helping me, we're here. So that might look like a family might come to us because they want an iPad for their child because they're in the hospital all the time. Well, 6 months from now, dad might lose his job and they might need help with their house payment. They can come back for us for that and ask for that. We support the entire family. We have a mom's gathering that we get the moms together on a regular basis. Just a few weeks ago, we used the Red House Tavern for a mom's gathering and had probably about 15 moms get together for dinner. We do sibling events. We support the teens. We support the families as a whole, which I'll talk to you about in a second. We also support them by connecting them with other resources. Like if somebody, I am not about reinventing the wheel. If somebody focuses on giving children wheelchairs, I'm going to find out who that is. So when a family comes to me for that, I can say, hey, they can help you with this. Come back to us for something else you need. So we really try to connect with other resources in the community. We're always looking to learn more about other nonprofits, other resources, so we can partner with them. So everybody has a go-to person for like certain things. And one of the reasons our need is so big right now is because we have become the go-to. And what that means is like pediatricians and therapists and social workers are calling us and saying, hey, I've got this child that needs X, Y, Z. I've heard about you. Can you help? Yes, of course we can. Send them our way. But the newest addition to this is insurance companies, which my husband's in insurance, and he's like, they've got more money than us. And they're saying no, but they will literally say to a family, you know, we can't really do that right now, but you should call the Sweet Joy Grace Foundation. They can help. So, whatever. That's what we're here for.
I kind of have a problem with that.
It's getting more, we've gotten on their radar, which is kind of but you know what, we're here to help, so however they come to us. So that's one way we fill in the gaps. We fill in whatever gaps are not being filled in because these families deserve the support they need. So this is just a little picture of some of the Rain Dancer gifts we've given, and just to kind of touch on it so you can get an idea of what we do when it comes to bringing gifts that bring joy or helping with practical needs a family might have. We gave a rain dancer a playground because he had cancer and his mom needed a safe place for him to play. We gave a little boy a puppy. It was my favorite gift. He did have to stay at my house for a few weeks, which was fine. We gave him a puppy because he was having extreme anxiety. He was having to have treatments and appointments like on a daily basis, and he was trying to run away from home. And his mom's like, I think if he had a puppy, a friend, this would help, and it did. We gave a little boy a special needs bike. We sent a family to Legoland to celebrate end of cancer treatment. We did a room makeover for 2 brothers. We purchased beach wheelchairs so a family could take their whole family to the beach and nobody got left behind. We gave a special needs stroller to a little guy because he had to fly and his family could not get his wheelchair on with him that way. And he had to go for an intensive therapy treatment for 3 weeks, and they needed an easier way to get around with him while he was there. And then the last one, which you can't tell very well, but I think actually the police, I think the Haymarket police helped us with that because this was an end of treatment parade with Star Wars and princesses and an ice cream truck and bounce houses and the police and the fire. We had a whole lot of people come and drive by a little boy for his end of treatment parade during COVID. So we've also started a lot of other programs based on the needs that we've seen. We have an iPad program, so this helps kids stay connected when they're homebound or if they're in the hospital. We have holiday parties. You might recognize Santa. He is the only Santa. In my phone, he is my Santa, but I'll share him. So we have fall parties and we have Christmas parties, and of course it's looked a little different with COVID. We've kind of packaged it all and delivered them to their homes. But this is kind of where it goes to like you're stuck with us now. So these are families who we've supported at some point, and they're part of our family, and so they're included in all of this. Unless they technically graduate because their child's 100% better and they don't need us anymore, they qualify for this type of celebration. So we try to make memories with them and give them the opportunity to make memories together. This is one of my favorite things to give a child. This is the all-terrain wheelchair. I don't know if you've ever seen these or heard about these, but these literally let kids in wheelchairs go anywhere they want. So a child in a wheelchair cannot go on the beach, they cannot go in the grass, they cannot go on rocky paths, they can't go in the woods, but with an all-terrain wheelchair they can. And we've been honored to give 5 of these to children. They're about $12,000 to $15,000. Anybody like to sponsor one? I'm totally open to that. But these come usually with a partnership or a sponsorship because they are a little bit more expensive. We are gearing up to give our 6th one now. And it does give them the gift of freedom. We also have the rainy day program, and when a family is going through a crisis with their child, even if they started out fine and ahead of things, it's going to be hard for them to keep up. Usually mom or dad has to quit work to stay home to take care of the kids. So we help with house payments, we help with gas cards, grocery cards. If they have to travel out of state for hospital visits, we help with that. And we helped a lot of them quite a bit during COVID 2020 and 2021. But this is our rainy day program, and it lets us help them on a rainy day. So this is the hospital outreach program. Used to be that before COVID, I would go into the hospitals and I would set up the parent lounge, and the parents who were staying with their children at the PICU, the ICU, would come in and just take whatever they needed. It's all the essentials. But because of COVID, we switched it to more of a team effort from our village of amazing community people. And so basically what this is groups, churches, clubs, companies will host a packing party. We'll give them a list of everything we need. In these bags are full of essentials, full of snacks, comfort items, and it's all geared towards the parents in the hospital. Because a lot of times if a parent had to go to the hospital with their child, they have the shirt on their back. And the last thing they care about is eating or washing their face or putting their hair up. So everything you can imagine are in these bags. And we've had a lot of support in the community from this. This is actually Battlefield High School. That's another kids group. This weekend, the Haymarket Church's youth group is doing a big packing party for us. So this is a really great way for clubs and churches and businesses to get involved. I had a video, but since I'm talking a lot, we'll pass that. So, how you can get involved. And, I think that one of the things is that because we come alongside a family and we don't leave their side, we're here for the long haul, we really depend on community to do that with us. And we have been beyond blessed by that. When somebody in the community comes as like walk by our side, so to speak, we consider them a friend. Just here in Haymarket, we have many friends. The Red House Tavern chose us as their beneficiary when they opened. The very first night they opened, they let us host our sponsors for the soft opening, so they're one of our partners. The Haymarket Baptist Church gave us a really nice end-of-year donation last year. The Haymarket Church is a big partner of ours. Studio B is a big event sponsor of ours. So when you're a friend of ours, it helps us come alongside families and not even have to think twice about how we're going to support them. So we're always looking for friends. We like friends. We have lots of really cool fundraisers. So we're actually getting ready to have a golf tournament in the fall. We've actually pretty much sold out with the 36 teams are pretty much taken at this point. But we are looking for donations and raffle items and all that good stuff. You can host a packing party. You can help at Christmas. So along with the Christmas celebrations we do, we also have an annual tradition where we do Christmas caroling for our families. So we pick a local family, we take completely care of them for Christmas, and then we surprise them with carolers. Usually there's like 200 people outside. So when they come outside, it's just a yard full of carolers, which again, you all have been, Haymarket Police has been awesome support for us for that when we've had families here in Haymarket. We also do angel trees and that type of thing for families who are in need. Obviously, we are always looking for volunteers and donors. So that kind of touches on that. You can find us online. I can be, if you reach out to any of those locations, you'll get me. So at Sweet Choy Grace on Facebook and Instagram, you can follow us. And when you follow us on our social media, you'll see a lot of weekly updates on things we're doing for kids. You'll see needs we have, like ways we're looking for people to volunteer, or things we're looking for. You'll also see about our events and fundraisers we have coming up. And then, of course, our website actually has a lot of really cool rain dancer stories that you can go on and read the stories of kids and watch videos and also sign up to get more involved. So, does anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for everything you do.
Wonderful program.
Hey, can you share that presentation?
Sure. I can send it to you.
Super.
You're the one I was talking to. I didn't know it was you because you greeted me. So you just send it to Ken. Yeah, you can share it. Okay. It was nice to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's the point of that is if you want, right?
It's a great organization.
Yeah, Jay's heavily involved.
Presentation
Yes.
coming up.
Really super.
I don't know what. We need to follow along.
So council, currently we're having issues with the audio again. It's not trying to work, so we're gonna do Microsoft go through the presentation.
All right, can you all hear me?
Yes.
So he's gonna go with this presentation.
Okay.
At the end, we'll call him.
Very good.
Do you wanna miss this?
Okay, I'm sharing my screen here, going over the financial report for you all. If you all have any issues, please have Emily kind of wave her hand in the window there so I can know to stop and redirect at that point. But from this point forward, I'll just go through this presentation, and Roberto informed me that at the end, you all will give me a call and discuss any questions that there may be at that point in time. So obviously, you all hired us to perform the audit for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2021. And I'm going to skip to our report on the audit. We audited the financial statements and the related notes that comprise the town's basic financial statements. Management's responsibility for the financial statements is key in this. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. We provide services, non-audit related services as it relates to preparing the financial statements. That is a non-attest service, but management ultimately accepts responsibility for those services and accepts responsibility for the preparation and, again, fair presentation of the financial statements. It is also management's responsibility to design, implement, and maintain a system of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, and that they're free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. So again, management's responsible for, having an internal control process in place conducive to preparing and presenting financial statements in a materially correct manner. our responsibility as auditors is ultimately to perform the audit in accordance with generally accepted standards, generally accepted auditing standards. And then also to perform the audit in accordance with government auditing standards, since obviously the town is a local government, and we are bound by those standards and when we plan to perform the audit of the financial statements. Ultimately, we're also responsible for obtaining enough sufficient audit evidence to substantiate and provide an opinion on the financial statements. And we believe that we have generated and conducted the audit in accordance with standards and have obtained audit evidence sufficient to rendering an opinion on the financial statements. And at the very bottom of this page here, you'll see the opinions section. Let's see if I can just, there we go. The opinion on our financial statement, the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. The town of Haymarket, Virginia, for the year ended June 30, 2021. Basically, this is a clean opinion, what we deem to be an unmodified opinion, but is the best opinion that we can offer in our profession. Excuse me. Moving along to management's discussion and analysis, I always like to mention this section because if you only have a few minutes to address and read through the financial statements, this is probably where you want to spend a good bit of your time. It provides a good, simple, straightforward analysis of the financial condition and also reasons for significant changes from one year to the next. I won't spend too much time on it right now, but just know that this is a nice, 4 or 5 page synopsis of the financial condition and activity for the town for the year. For the basic financial statements, they're comprised of 2 sets of financial statements. One is the government-wide financial statements, and those are very much like the financial statements that you'll find most businesses are presenting on, meaning you have longer-term assets and longer-term debt. This oftentimes for governmental reporting kind of skews the financial condition in a way that is not really conducive to decision making from a budgetary perspective. And so what they allow is for a second set of financial statements, which are the fund financial statements. These are the financial statements that are on your budgetary basis. If you're looking for budget to actual comparison, these are what you want to look at. And basically, these are on what we call the modified accrual basis of accounting, which essentially excludes those longer-term assets and longer-term liabilities such as debt and things of that nature. So it provides a little more short-term focus when looking at these financial statements. So the general fund of the town, as you can see here, total assets at the end of the year amounted to around $3.5 million. Total liabilities, $1.2 million, and total fund balance of almost $2.3 million, of which $2.286 was unassigned for use as deemed appropriate by the town council. Statement of revenues and expenditures and changes in fund balance. Total revenues for the fiscal year was around $2.8 million, and total expenditures was around $2.5 million, leading to an excess of revenues over expenditures of $288,000, which is an increase in the fund balance of the general fund for the fiscal year. Moving to the notes to the financial statements, this provides a lot of good detail behind the figures that are being reported in the basic financial statements. Also, some good historical perspective for some of the information that's being reported as well. There are only a few items in these notes that I want to draw your attention to. Otherwise, I think it's a great use of your time to go through and read through these to get an understanding of how things are presented and why they're presented the way that they are. The first item I want to look to is the Note 5 capital assets. This provides a nice summarized form presentation of the capital assets for the governmental activities for the year. As you can see, we got a balance at the beginning of the year, the additions, deletions, changes thereto, and a balance at the end of the year for a total net capital assets at the end of the year of a little under $6.1 million. And down here, this table here is the allocation of depreciation expense by activity. So you can see general government administration, right under 15,000, public safety 51,000, public works 144,000, and cultural 7,200 out of the total depreciation expense for the year. The next note to draw your attention to is note 6. This is the note for long-term obligations. It provides a nice summary of the long-term obligations of the town for the year. Again, the beginning balances, issuances, retirements, decreases, and ending balances, and also an amount due within 1 year. And this is a nice way to get an understanding of kind of what's coming up, even though we're now beyond that point of what to do within 1 year. I think we're after June 30, 2022, so what was due within 1 year has already been paid, hopefully. So we're kind of looking toward 2023 at this point. And the second page of note 6 here provides a good detailed description of the obligations of the town and significant terms of those obligations, and again, the ending balances for the year of those particular obligations. The next numerous pages, probably 20 to 25 pages, are the notes for the pension plan and also other post-employment benefit plans. All of these plans are administered by the Virginia Retirement System. And a lot of this stuff, it looks like a lot of information, and it is a lot of information, but all of this comes from the VRS. You know, they provide all this information that each locality is required to report in the notes of their financial statements. And basically, it's the assumptions that were used and are used in determining a pension obligation and also another other post-employment benefit obligation for each locality. One thing in these notes that I'd like to draw your attention to, well, this one is a nice note. It shows a change from 1 year to the next of the total pension liability and also the fiduciary net pension or net position of the plan allocable to the town, and ultimately the resulting net pension asset, in this case for the town, as of June 30, 2020, reporting June 30, 2021. As you can see here, as of June 30, 2020, which is for the reporting year, June 30, 2021, the town has a net pension asset of a little under $21,000, which means at that time, the plan fiduciary net position exceeded the total pension liability by approximately $21,000. This is really just a snapshot in time. So, you know, when we're reporting on this next year for the FY22 audit, those numbers could be flip-flopped. And that's kind of what I want to show you here with a brief, sensitivity analysis shown here in this table here. As you can see, under the basic or the current discount rate of 6.75%, we just mentioned that the town has a net pension asset of a little under $21,000. Based on this sensitivity analysis, and this is also information provided by the Virginia Retirement System, a 1% increase and or a 1% decrease can significantly change the net position, obligation or asset of the town for pension items. So 1% decrease in the discount rate results in a $127,000 liability, whereas a 1% increase in the discount rate, boosts the net asset of the pension to a little under $140,000. So I show this to you just to allow you to get a view of how sensitive, that net pension liability and asset number is, just based on market conditions from 1 year to the next. So again, note 9, group life insurance plan, that is another post-employment benefit plan administered by the Virginia Retirement System. And again, good information to look into if you definitely want to do that. Operating leases, you'll see here noting lease revenue of the town and the expected lease revenue of the town for the next 5 fiscal years after fiscal year June 30, 2021. So nice tabular format there. Looking to the budget to actual forms here. As you can see, this is the general fund, scheduled revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, budget to actual for the fiscal year June 30, 2021. As we discussed and showed previously in the basic financial statements, the town had total revenues in the fiscal year of $2.8 million, and that was a little under budget by approximately $57,000. However, total expenditures for the year were under budget by $512,000 on the positive side. So ultimately, there was a positive, a net excess of revenues over expenditures from a budgetary perspective of approximately $455,000, and therefore showing an increase in fund balance for the fiscal year. These next schedules are schedules related to the pension and OPEB presentation. Again, these are required to be presented by the GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board. It provides, again, good information, but really is not something that always strikes to the heart of those that are making budgetary decisions for their local government. I'm just going to float through these a little bit. And the scheduled revenues, Schedule 1, this provides a little bit more detail behind the summarized budget to actual presentation that we just looked at. And so you can see the different, revenue categories, revenue sources, with a little bit more detail than what was previously presented. So please take the time to kind of look over that and get an understanding of how everything is being presented in that way. Same thing for the Schedule 2, Schedule of Expenditures. A nice, detailed layout of the expenditures by category, function, activity, and different elements for expenditures in the general fund. And this is our report on our assessment of internal control over financial reporting in accordance with government auditing standards. We assess internal control solely for the purpose of planning and performing our audit. We do not render an opinion on the control process or on the internal controls of the town. Rather, during our assessment of the internal controls, if we run into any material items that we deem to be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, then we are then required to communicate those to you all, the governing body. We did not note any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, but a huge caveat is that that does not mean they don't exist. It just we did not note them during our assessment of the internal control process when planning and performing the audit of the financial statements for fiscal year 2021. So with that is my presentation. And Roberto, if you want to go ahead and give me a call, I'm happy to address any questions that any of the counselors or town staff have.
I have a question.
Guess we'll start off with Bob.
I just have one simple question. So we're going to see you in 6 months, not 12 months, correct?
That is the ideal time, yes. That would be a little more ideal timing.
Okay, I'm good.
That was actually my question, too. No, but thank you for the presentation, Mike. Very good presentation and very helpful. The notes are extremely helpful to understanding what you did.
Yes, no problem. I'm glad to do it. I'm appreciative of you, asking for me to present, and hopefully next year I'll be able to make it up there. I know it's we kind of had to work through the schedules and the calendar of events, and I'm glad that we were able to make it work. But hopefully next year I'll be there in person.
Okay, any other questions?
Super.
Well,
That's
Michael,
it.
thank you for your time. Council has no further questions, and I will be in touch with you soon.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It's good news.
That's all. Very
John
good.
Roberta. Way to go.
That's right. Kudos to Roberto.
Yes.
Yes. Stop blushing.
One call clap action.
Okay. Next agenda item, citizens' time. Any emails? No, sir. Okay, anybody in the audience want to participate?
Jim was here, but had to leave.
Okay, then we'll move on. Consent agenda. What items would you guys like to pull?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I just want to pull a town admin report for a quick brief on the quiet zone. And ask Roberto, you're going to cover everything, so we don't need to pull your report, right? Because you'll cover everything under the agenda.
Agenda
Your
items.
budget review?
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more items?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I would move adoption of items 7A, 1 through 3, B, 2 through 4, C, 1 through 5.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, we'll move forward then. Let's open up the town administration report.
I'm just going to ask Emily if she wouldn't mind giving a brief update based on our discussion Thursday, and I will fill in if necessary.
Absolutely. So this didn't quite make it in this report because it was already submitted, but Joe and I had a very productive meeting on Thursday morning with the Prince William County gentlemen, Salah and Rich, who are helping us with the quiet zone application that's going forward. And we also had James Payne in attendance. He works with the FRA and is actually very local to our area and was very familiar with the quiet zone application that we are putting forward. So we talked about a new opportunity rather than applying for the quiet zone as we had previously done so. There is an opportunity with some grant funding out there now to install SSMs, and I'm going to have to defer to Joe on what that acronym stands for, but essentially this would allow for the county to go in and fund what you would call a 4-quad crossing closure so that it is a safer intersection of the road and the railway. And it would keep people from running through it or doing a zigzag through the bars when they come down. This would require, more patience on our residents' part, not to cut it, but ultimately it should protect their safety and everyone's well-being. So we discussed through some of those items as well as some of the other triggers of trespassing in general on the railroad tracks, not just when the gates are down, but, pedestrians walking, things of that nature. So we discussed a lot of different opportunities with the BIL infrastructure money. And so we will be following up with the county. We have several items on our end that we're going to be reaching out, making contact with. Joe is going to reach out on the town's behalf to talk to Ms. Wexton and have some additional support there. And then we will be following up with our support to Prince William County, that we are still in support of this quiet zone application, even if it is modified to be the SSM route versus the original application. Joe,
Yep.
are there any additional notes you would like to add?
Yes. No, that was pretty good. That was actually very good. Just to clarify, though, we're looking for some support from the council. Nothing really officially yet. Eventually, we'll have to do a resolution the county is going to be looking for. Right now, they're just looking for some kind of support, either from the council, from the mayor, for the town manager, to proceed with the quiet zone process that's going to be managed by the county.
Okay.
All right? I mean, this is going to be something we'll do together, but essentially managed by the county and going forward. So if we could do something and send them within the next week or so, I guess, or just some kind of,
Can we just delegate that to her?
yes, and if there's no objection, if we could delegate that to Emily, the town manager, that would be great. The difference, just to give you a quick update, the difference between what we were doing and what we're going to be doing, she talked about system safety measures, SSMs, as opposed to alternative safety measures. These are more concrete, proactive systems like the 4-quadrant gates and other types of engineering solutions. We were very fortunate to have Jim Payne, who is their lead national guy, who happens just to live in Gainesville district of Prince William County. And he does grade crossings as well as trespassing safety for the nation. He was very, very helpful. And instead of going through the process of doing an NOI, a notice of intent, and then going through the process of the modeling for the risk index and doing all of that, what he suggested that we might want to consider is going after the grant applications for all of these systems. And so look at the railroad as a safety corridor. So it would include everything from perhaps, what is that dead-ended near 29?
Called Wellington Branch, but it is the
It's the old road that used to go back,
Right.
where Wellington used to go across the railroad tracks until they did the grade separation.
Yes.
And then they cut it off where the gas station
Cut
used
it
to
off,
be.
but it's still an active grade crossing. And, yeah, it's an active grade crossing, and one of the thoughts was perhaps devolving it back to the railroad, because it serves no
Active
useful
grade
purpose.
crossing to where?
Yeah.
nowhere.
Nowhere, but it's still in the system. So there's a thought of making it a continuous safety corridor all the way from there to, is that Turner Road, just past 55?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
the
correct.
county could abandon that, couldn't they?
Well, that's
Doesn't go
they're
out
going to be
the
looking
thoroughfare.
into that.
Okay.
And so effectively going after the grant money that's in the BIL, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, there is significant funding available. The FRA not only would be evaluating what we are trying to do from a quiet zone perspective, which they like to call a no train horn, not really quiet zone, but they'll also be evaluating the grant program. So it's all in one place. So we have a real good opportunity here, and we discussed it at the meeting, and the county is looking to go forward with that option. So all we would have to do once we got the grants, it'll take a little bit longer on the front end to get through with the grants and the applications, and perhaps there's some environmental assessment that may have to be done. We're not sure yet. But once you do that, all you have to do is put out a notice of execution, and you have your quiet zone within 45 days. So that's kind of like the direction we're going in, and anything else? I can't.
The only other thing that I was going to mention, and this was a little bit more of a public service announcement that we learned in the meeting from Mr. Payne, was that under normal conditions, the train horn will not sound. If there are trespassers that are seen on the tracks or maintenance that is currently going on, the train horn will still sound. So that was a clarifying thing that I don't think all of our community necessarily understands. So when we put this forward, and hopefully this is something we're able to achieve in a couple years' time, there is still an opportunity that occasionally a horn will sound, and that is your reasoning.
And that's for emergency situations. And we would do that anyway if you see somebody by the right of way. So we're going from the more model approach to the grant funding execution approach. And that's essentially the difference.
Since we're adding quad gates and other safety measures, I know I want to create an agreement with the county for connector sidewalks. Is it too early, or is it out of scope or scope creep if we add the pedestrian gates into this?
So that topic actually came up in discussion. Since we had the two county gentlemen here, again, they are in the transportation department and do a lot of the engineering, so they were already looking into this opportunity. What we're coming across is the capability of being able to put that sidewalk in and long-term maintenance, whether it becomes a boardwalk opportunity because you have your RPA and your flood zone right there, that is triggering additional concerns that need to be further investigated. So that's where they're currently at. It does not look highly likely from the conversation we had that it would be a standard sidewalk or a standard shared use path that would go across that railroad crossing. It would instead be something that's alternative if they're able to put it into their planning and funding. And then they would look to us as a partner of it, probably for some maintenance and upkeep.
Yep. And I do understand the problems with trying to make that a permanent pathway. Boardwalk is probably the solution that's going to happen. It's just that we still need the pedestrian gates included into it.
Right.
Whether we build this out at this time or sometime in the future, if we can get the pedestrian gates, even though they might just sit there for a while, it would benefit us in the long run.
Something to think about.
Yeah. Marshawn?
No, he asked my question about the sidewalks.
15 crossing of the railroad tracks, is that even on the horizon?
Are you talking about the grade separation?
Correct.
That's not on the horizon. However, there may be some funding opportunities there. We're just going to have to explore those, or the county's going to have to explore it. But
Right now. it
But
doesn't
right
mean-
now,
Point being, if they were
doesn't
having
mean-
simultaneously, or if the
It doesn't
separate
grade well in
interchange is still.
MVGA scoring.
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
on the smart scale level, it just doesn't do well. Doesn't compete. And I'm not sure. I mean, it's a question of whether we include that in the grant application or not. So I think we're going to evaluate it both ways, if I recall.
Correct. We had discussed with the county and the FRA gentlemen that we are going to evaluate the opportunity of doing it without, and then the county was also going to evaluate a second approach, including the grade separation. However, with it not ranking well on smart scale, that was a secondary
And it doesn't
effort.
rank well on smart scale.
Okay,
Because
thanks.
it's a safety improvement and not a congestion one, and
Correct.
smart scale is rigged towards
Differently.
congestion and, which not even gonna go there.
So we need the direction, so as long as we can direct the town manager, if
Yep.
there's no objection.
Any objections?
No, good.
Nope.
So I'll prepare a support letter and have that sent over to the county this week on behalf of the town. And then we'll follow up and have our notes documented for that meeting, and that'll start tracking in this upcoming month's report with the updates.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Well done.
Okay. There are some other items on here I'd like to address. Typically, I do this in the background, but just for transparency and visibility, I want to make sure that the citizens realize that we still have this on our targets. Technical issues here with the Dia sound system and video. I have not seen any emails. Usually we get monthly or bi-weekly status on where the equipment is. Have you seen anything lately on that?
No, sir. Usually it's a monthly email that comes out. We have not received any update, and the last time I reached out in the beginning of July, they did not have any projected timeline of when the outstanding 2 items were going to be sent over for CTSI to come complete the technical work.
Yep, I think their estimate, the beginning of the year was October for this equipment to come in. I have a feeling it's still going to slide, just from my experiences at my real job. So, yeah, but this is still in our focus, and we're still trying to move forward with it. Another thing on here, we went through this quick knee-jerk reaction to try and come up with a support letter for stormwater management assessment with the county. Has the county given us any feedback on where this stands, or?
Not at this time. The applications were all in for review and awaiting further, I guess, reporting back from Wexton's office.
Yep, and I'm assuming we've allocated some funding for that, because I'm sure they're going to surprise us with the 20% match on this. So we're good with that, Roberto? Okay. And the last thing I wanted to bring out, the playground shade structure. Has the county given us a certificate on this yet.
No, they have not.
And is there any, can you kind of motivate them in any way, give them a call?
I think the best report back for council at this time would be that we need to investigate hiring a third party to update the plans appropriately to resubmit them. It can be something we can possibly talk to our town engineer and see if she can assist us on a civil side, but we are at a standstill with the county regarding what they want to see on the plans versus what we at a staff level are currently capable of doing.
Has the current contractor provided a list of other locations where this has been permitted previously?
I will follow up and request that again from the contractor.
Because I think that cures the issue.
Okay.
James Long Park has those structures, right? James Long Park has a similar structure.
I think
But it's
this
got to
is
be one
solid.
from this supplier.
I think where that was a county installation.
Yeah. Yeah. But if we do got to move forward with getting Katie involved, do we have enough in our retainer to cover this without bringing it to the dais with funding?
That's something we would discuss with probably the finance liaisons at our weekly meeting.
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks.
Okay, that's all I have. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. And then we'll move on to our agenda items. Town charter amendment discussion.
I would like to speak, Mayor, if I may.
Mary?
I noticed in the first 4 pages of our charter, it's very gender specific. And then in the initial council section, it says councilmen. The following paragraph says councilmen. And then following some edits, it says council members. So I would like us to streamline the wording to council members. And I would also like to ask Martin to adjust all gender-specific wording to neutral, to, update it, please.
It's a easy one, I'm sure. There's no objections.
I want to be identified as a toaster.
Any other comments for the edits that we've have rolling forward?
Need to do that public hearing.
We need
Yep.
to authorize a public hearing. What date would you like it on?
We would like it in September at our first meeting, which is going to fall on the Tuesday after Labor Day.
Which is what
It's going to
day?
be the 6th.
The 6th?
Yes.
Without objection, because we can do this by directive, correct?
Yes.
Without objection, I would direct town staff to publish an advertisement with respect to the proposed town charter amendments for a September 6, 2022 public hearing.
No objection here.
No objections?
No, sir.
Only requires one public notice, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll move forward with that. Any other comments with this, for this agenda item? Okay. We'll move on to the next item, the Town Park Sidewalk RFP update.
Yes, so I have received feedback from our town engineer, and the references checked out positively. So at this point, the town engineer is ready to draft the contract and work through providing that to the applicant that responded to our RFP. So we're going to put together a recommendation letter and notice of intent to award the contract, and we will have that at the August 29th meeting for the work session.
For adoption or consideration?
For consideration and
Adoption on
ideally,
the 6th?
yes, that's correct.
Any other more comments? Any other comments? Awesome.
I'm sorry to have a follow-up. What's the next benchmark? Once they finalize the contract, how quickly could they go start work?
They will immediately start work on the planning phase of it, the design process. So ideally, we could sit down with them, maybe if they sign mid-September, accept, we could be sitting down with them, having a meeting, and having Katie actively work with them on that in the coming months. And I was just going to add, we will have a plan for those few months at the end of the year, beginning of the next, for Katie to ensure that it's continuously moving.
Okay, I just assume in the fall the weather may affect that schedule too. So
They won't be doing any construction at this phase, it's just design phase, so.
I guess that's my point, is how quick, let's go through the design phase. Do we have any estimate when they might be able to get it?
We'll have that with the contract discussion.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on. Fiscal year 2022 budget review.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. So every year around this time, I try to discuss where we're at, where we ended the year for this past fiscal year, with the disclaimer that this is the pre-audit numbers. We're in the process of starting all over again, as you heard from Michael. But these are through past experiences, pretty close to what the final audit would look like. Overall this year we did show that on the revenue side, we did come out positive. We actually came 96.7% of our budgeted amounts on the revenue side. We were almost there, with the exception of one revenue source, which is our sales. These are pretty much the final numbers when it comes to revenue. Following the expenses, just want to make a few notes on a few items. One of the first ones being that the legal services. I know that was a concern with everything going on throughout the year, but we were actually over budget by $5,925.
It's not fair.
Yeah, that actually is not bad considering everything that was going on. We also wanted to address if on the overall department budgets, everyone worked within their budget. The town administration only used 87% of the budget adopted. The police department, public safety, using 95.5% of their budget. But in actuality, that's actually really great, considering that we onboarded a lot of the department this year, including Chief too. So thanks, Chief, for that. As you can see on the expenses, we pretty much worked within our budgeted amounts, addressing as well the town center master plan, and some of the street park sidewalk stuff that just started. Overall, though, I know I was listening to the meeting from last week, and I just kind of want to address a few things where we were discussing this. Overall, right now, this report has changed a bit currently, but as of right now, this report was $483,598 as a surplus. I know the conversation's coming up in August, I believe. We'll be presenting on discussions over refunds and CIP dedication of money. One thing I want to make sure you guys are aware too, that on this report you will see that we no longer are carrying the ARPA funds here. We actually deferred it. It's actually on our current report. If you were to go to page 20 on your packet, you will see where we actually deferred it by restricting those funds to be used for the purpose of infrastructure projects that councils see fit. By doing that, it's just more of a way of trying to make sure that the funds are being used as they should be used for. But just wanted to address that.
Sorry, does anybody else smell burning? Like,
Smells like coffee.
Bert, are you burning the popcorn again?
No.
Is there something overloading or overheating?
I'm glad it wasn't me.
No,
Yeah.
it's almost like,
Like when you turn on a hair dryer or like a heater that's
Yeah.
got like dust on it.
I don't know anything about hair dryers,
You know.
except my towel. Or a washcloth in my case.
Sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt everyone.
No?
no,
Safety first?
you just beat me right to it. I was getting ready to go, hey, that's what I looked
Try
at.
to say something.
Is Jake barbecuing in your office?
Smells like coffee.
Yeah, is that the projector?
I don't smell it.
It smells like something's like burning.
I can't smell,
I
so.
smell coffee. Is it me or do I smell coffee? I don't know.
See, I smell burning, so
You
that's,
do?
yeah. But
I can't smell
everybody's
anything.
safe, so that's good.
All right, well, there's no fires. That sounds good.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
I guess this will,
Tables with a standing position.
turn into another surprise expense for one of our heating units, right?
And perfectly talking about surplus. Right?
Put it out there, don't put it out there.
Okay. So specifically, so overall, I just wanted to inform council and remind everyone out there as well too that it was a positive year when it comes to the fiscal year that we just closed. Again, these are pre-audit numbers, and a reminder that this FY 2022 is the last payment we made for our police department vehicles. So on the new budget, you didn't see that. Quick comment I want to make too. I know last week you guys discussed this about the proffers. Just want to give you a status update that today we received the first 4 homes proffers in the amount of $77,264 for the Van Meter project. I believe a town manager had spoken to a Van Meter rep, and we'll start seeing those funds coming in. I've also will start restricting those as well, so you probably won't see them on the budget because they'll be restricted in the back end. But I would definitely keep a note and address you, keep you up to date on what we're collecting, and also, so we're still checking up with Crossroads. I believe that will eventually come later down the road, but Van Meter is the most current one. Yeah, and we have also, we'll be receiving the fire department funds as well. So there are a few things in the works for that. As far as the refund position, discussion, I know we'll bring that up, but I have worked a whole Excel report on that we'll be talking about. So yeah, we will go ahead and address that. As far as this budget or any other questions, I know I wasn't here, so I know it's a lot of information too, but I just want to make sure that, is there anything that you guys had questions on that I can hopefully answer for you guys today?
So thank you for listening through the meeting, and I guess the requested documentation we'll have for the work session in August still. That was for the layout of the tax refund, the allocation of monies, the monies coming in potentially from the proffers. That's still on the, okay, thanks.
It's all ready to go, but yes, that will be at the work session.
Yeah, we just
We
have to.
sort of whipped Roberto, made him do it.
That's what happens when I miss a meeting, I guess, but yes.
That's what, August 29th is it?
August 29th,
Yes.
Yes. That being said, we do have one item that we have to take care of before the 29th, which is authorizing the public hearing for that refund. So without objection, I would direct staff to advertise a public hearing for the proposed tax refund of $250,000 to be funded by the surplus for September 6, 2022. Is that correct?
We're advertising the maximum, so if
The
it's something
maximum, yeah.
less, we're covered, okay.
Yeah. Same thing you would do with the tax rate.
Yep.
No objection.
No objections.
No.
Okay. Move forward with that.
Thank you, Roberto. Good year, Roberto.
Thank you.
And staff.
Okay. So I guess we'll be moving on to council member time. First up, Vice Mayor Pater.
Thank you. So we're in August. I can't believe it. We have our summer concert coming up on the 20th, which will be lots of fun. We have our business roundtable that will be in September 13th. And I wanted to say thank you so much to Sarah for coming out for the Sweet Julia Grace Foundation. I really enjoyed that presentation.
Well done.
Yep.
Okay, Councilman Weir.
I just want to make everybody aware. I know everybody knows that I follow this, but there's been a lot of news in recent weeks, particularly from Dominion Energy and their oversight group, which is PJM, which is the Regional Electric Authority, that I think we need to start paying a little more attention than we have been. And we may have to be a little bit proactive. The regional entity, PJM, has reviewed the most recent, essentially, load requests and plans for additional, what they refer to as bulk load users. I call them data centers. I think Marshall's probably very familiar with this in Loudoun County, but I'm going to give you the 50,000 foot view on it. And as a result, PJM has declared that Dominion is in violation of several NERC, which is the federal regulatory body that covers energy transmission, and that if they don't address the capacity issues in this certain locality, certain bad things are going to happen. Rolling outages, transmission failures if certain things happen. It's a very complex thing, and I have a suspicion that given the gross square footage of what the county is wanting to put in around Haymarket, and we're talking millions of square feet of data center, without adequate infrastructure in place, that we might be facing that same fight in the very near future. And I just want everybody to be aware of that, and I will do what I can to keep everybody apprised, but it's highly technical in nature, and I'll bore most of you to tears with it, but if anybody's interested, contact me offline, and I'll try to explain it. That's it.
That's it. Okay. Thank you. Next on the list, Councilman Casanello.
Okay. First thing I'd like to do is just thank Pastor Brady for the invocation and for including Mabel Hudson and Braxton Falk. Had the opportunity to attend the visitation with Bob for Mabel. What a turnout. It was an amazing turnout. A lot of positive energy. She was just a lovely lady and well-liked. Again, Braxton was 14. He died from the brain tumor. They're going to have a service for him. He's a sweet little boy. It was very inspiring to see him around the neighborhood riding his bike. So August 20th is going to be a celebration of his life, and it's going to be a very positive event. They're looking for folks to dress in very colorful clothing. So
Define colorful.
very colorful, whatever. Something positive and upbeat for Braxton. And that's from his mom and dad, Norman and Emily.
Where is that going to be?
That's going to be at Park Valley Church, August 20th. I'm not sure. I will get that time too, and you can share with everybody. I forgot what I was going to say else there, but it'll be a sweet event, but also uplifting. And Ainsley is his daughter, is Braxton's sister, and typically the family member goes through a very, very rough time. So hopefully we can all spend a little bit more time with Ainsley and support her. And so that was that. And finally, I want to point out tomorrow night, Chief, on another up note here, we have National Night Out from 5 to 8, and hopefully we'll get a nice turnout and support our police department and all of our neighbors and attendees.
Looking forward to it.
Is there any?
Lots of food to eat.
Can you tell us who might be coming to that event?
Sure, I can give you the whole way down here. We're going to have axe addicts for axe throwing. We're going to have cornhole. We're going to have bouncy house from Park Valley. We're going to have face painting done by eXp Realty. And then for food, we're going to have Chick-fil-A. Who doesn't love Chick-fil-A? Mission Barbecue. We're going to have 24 pizzas from Papa John's. We're going to pick up about 4:30. Haymarket Baptist Church going to be passing out water. Studio B is going to be passing out popsicles. Swirly's going to be throwing down with some ice cream. The Hilton across the street's bringing, I think, blueberry muffins, but some sort of muffins, some sort of pastries that they have over there. So I think there'll be plenty to have and plenty to enjoy. Fire department will be there for some touch the truck stuff, and of course we'll be there. That's the most important thing, I think. Yes, ma'am.
Will we have the dunk tank again?
No dunk tank this year. We're just going to throw axes at each other. We thought that would be much safer than maybe Jake drowning or something.
He did look a little cold last year.
Well, I think it's because one of the officers bought $20 worth of ice and threw it in there. It's from what I hear. So yeah, we got a lot going on tomorrow night. So come on by.
All right, super. That's
Thank
all
you.
I have. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Schneider.
Okay, a couple things. 2 weeks ago, I was part of a team with Haymarket Church that did some mission work down in North Carolina with Carolina Cross Connection. We did accessibility projects, wheelchair ramps and those types of things. But we wore a lot of local Haymarket clothing. So we got to some advertising, but it was good representing Virginia amongst the North Carolinians. So, and then we heard about the younger youth group supporting Sweet Julia Grace Foundation. So there's a lot of folks with the Haymarket affiliation out in the community. Farmers Market, my kids have become quite fond of the Farmers Market, continues to do really well. So to your staff and to you as well, Emily. Aaron's doing a great job, rocking it, and hopefully we'll continue to have that participation. It sounds like parking's being solved too, being managed well. So hopefully that will build momentum and continue to do great things. Schools will be opening by the end of the month. Crosswalks look great. I think they did a good job on those. They seem to be holding up well. With the Van Meter project opening, we're going to have some new folks walking around. So just notice to everybody that when school's in session, we're going to have a lot more kids walking up and down Washington Street and getting on buses in the morning to make sure people are paying attention. So I'm sure, Chief, you'll be all over that. We need some new peeps on our committees, both Planning Commission and ARB. We continue to be challenged. We do have some liaisons and folks that will be able to participate. I think we need a minimum 2 for the ARB, 1 for the Planning Commission. And I'm hoping with the infusion of new residents that we'll get some more than just the usual suspects that we see often up here. So please take every opportunity to promote all the benefits of serving the town. And that when conversations are efficient at meetings, they tend to be less is more. That's all I'm saying, myself included. So less is more. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, Councilwoman Ramirez.
Thank you, Mayor. So everyone said a lot of great things, so I won't repeat them. But I did want to say the steward of our garden, the community garden, Rooted in Education, held their first educational programming, and that was July 22nd. And you should definitely check them out on Instagram and Facebook. They had such a great turnout. They did amazing things. Everybody seemed really excited about it, and Nadia's post about her experience was very humbling and just wonderful to read, and one of the great reasons why I love our town and our community. So please continue to support her by visiting the garden and harvesting and weighing everything and sharing what you weigh and take, just so we can see how successful it is. Let's see, and I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night. Thanks.
And I guess that leaves me tailing up. There's not much for me to say, and so I'll reflect on what Marshawn said and keep it short. I'll be doing my typical mayor's walk Saturday at 9 o'clock, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday.
The 13th?
Yes. So I'll see anybody who wants to participate then. Other than that, I'm done.
Move to adjourn.
Got a motion? Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys.
Steve, you came too
Meeting has
late.
ended.